Hello, beautiful human beings, and welcome to this new episode of Who Makes That Shit Up? Welcome, Kristen. I am Ghislaine. Kristen and I have the delight to be here together today to once again speak about who the heck made that blip 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 up. As we are challenging the norms, each week we discuss a different theme, and what we love to do is challenge what we learned, challenge what we know, challenge what you know, and just basically support you in not feeling crazy and feeling quite normal for asking about everything. Who the heck made that up? And why am I doing it? So, to stay, in tune with our theme, what are we going to be talking about today? Yay! Hi, Kristen.
Hi, welcome. So I have a question for you.
Tell
I
me.
saw that you on your social media were talking about the wheel of expansion.
Yes.
And
Right.
I know that you do a wheel, and it's based off the wheel of life, correct? Or is it
Yes.
different?
Yes. No, it is. It is based on the Wheel of Life. My husband and I started 6 or 7 years ago. He's gonna listen to this and he's gonna go, "I you don't know how long we've been doing this." Just as an excuse for myself, I never remember dates. I never really know things. All of a sudden it's our anniversary, and I'm like,
But
"Oh
she remembers you, and that's all that matters.
yeah, exactly." Exactly, Maurits, I remember you. Each time I see you, I'm in love with you. Okay, but so I think it's 6 years ago we started working with the system of the Wheel of Life, just because we had been together for nearly 10 years at the time. So we're 18 years together. So probably we've been doing the wheel for about 7 to 8 years, a little bit longer than that. And we arrived at a point in our relationship where we both wanted more, and we are both really high achievers in the sense that we like to work on changing our circumstances. And yeah, at one point, I think we were drawn to a system that would support us in giving more direction to the things that we were doing for our life.
Mhm.
And that's how we started working with the Wheel of Life. I think it was a different system. I can't remember. Anyhow, I dove into it and we found different systems that were a little bit centered around the same idea, is creating a wheel that represents your life, which is why it's called the Wheel of Life. And every year we changed a few things to make it fit even more into our lives. And at one point, I just really started talking to many friends about it and introducing it to many friends, and just doing it with them. And some people really went and worked with it, and some people didn't. And yeah, little by little I just continued to attune it more and more to what I felt it was lacking, because the Wheel of Life and all that kind of systems, they are very much linear. And
Mm.
me being all over the place like I am, I needed something that would take me a little bit more along on the journey of letting me, you know, go a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left with my goal and intentions. And yeah, so I just created my own system, and we've been doing that together with Maurits. So we've been doing that for, I think, in that way for the last 4 years. And yeah, I just keep on adding things. And this year we both have a different wheel, which is really exciting, as it's fully attuned to him and mine is fully attuned to me. So it's perfect. Yeah.
So you do it once a year.
Yes, so what we do is with Christmas and New Year's, we don't really celebrate in a traditional way.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have friends that come over, and sometimes we have family. So we do spend a little bit of time with family and friends. But this is mainly a period of the year where people are very much occupied. So nobody really wants anything from us. So we are like, okay, now we have time to, So what we do usually is we take 2, 3, 4 days to evaluate the previous year. So we look at, what our goals and desires were, and where we are at, and what we want to achieve for the next year. And yeah, it's, well, maybe it sounds a little bit much to say 4 days.
Well, I mean, I guess it's based on the person. So, right, it takes however much time they want to put into it
Exactly, and that's
and where
that's
they want to focus.
exactly, that's the beauty of it. You can spend as the more time you spend at it or you
Mhm.
give it, the more it's going to be serving you, which is really good because there's a good exchange of I spend so much time, and then you get so much more clarity, which makes it much more easy to work with your goals. And so yeah, this is something I want to emphasize because it's not, so what I wanted for myself is not having the feeling that I was or failing because I wasn't reaching my goal, or that I had so many things to do because there were so many things I wanted to focus on. And I mean, the first wheel that I ever created, I had 12 segments in there, 12 goals. That was like a disaster because when you have
What went
12
wrong?
things, 12 things you have to work on and you want to work on and you need to, work with, and it felt like so much pressure. And yeah, that was just, it was working in the sense that it was giving a little bit of direction, especially when we were talking about it and evaluating. But I wasn't able to really use it as a system that would support me in daily life, which is actually what you
Mm.
want. When you have goals, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to come together and set your goals at the beginning of the year and then talk about it once in a while. But what you want is you want a system that's going to support you in daily life, so you keep that direction clear and you know where you are going without having this nagging voice at the back end of your brain going, you didn't do what you said you were going to do, you didn't do what
Oh, I know that voice.
yeah.
I'm familiar with that
does,
voice.
does your nagging voice have the same accent as my nagging voice?
No, she can be a little more like, why are you just laying here? uh, she's a little more like, yeah, no, she's a little more American.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's French.
Well, yeah, well, you can, maybe you should have one. Well, the one, sometimes the one with a German accent pops up, and I'm like, oh no, I need to get my shit together.
Oh, then you know you're in trouble.
When the Italian one comes up, I'm like, I can have one more tiramisu and I'll be okay.
I don't know. It might sound nicer in a French accent to me. It might be like, oh, this sounds a little less harsh, a
Yeah, exactly,
little
exactly.
less judgy.
Yeah.
So after you set your goals at the beginning of the year
Yes.
and you go through, so what areas, well, I guess it would be different. Like what you're focusing on is different than what your husband's focusing on.
Exactly. So, Maurits has three main areas because he says those three main areas, those are the three kings in my life. And if those three areas are going good, then my life is going to go the right way. So he has our relationship, finances, which we call golden era, just because
Oh, I like that.
yeah, we like to give nice names to things, and health. So for him, those are the three main areas that he wants to focus
Okay.
on. And within each areas, he has different things
Sub.
that are important. Yes, exactly. But those are the three main areas. And I have six areas. So I have our relationship, I have adventures, I have my company, I have health, I do this every month, but yeah, Golden Era as well, which is the part of the finances. And then I have another one that I can't figure out now. That's why I have papers, because then I don't have to remember. But you know, and this is the beautiful thing is that um, it's for me, those are the areas that are for me in this year of my life are important. Those are the
Mhm.
areas I want to focus on. But for you, they might be different. So, for example, for a young girl that is 22, 23, and is just starting in her life, yeah, like you, starting in her life that just is just finished her studies and she's starting at life, she's gonna have a very different wheel.
Oh yeah.
And she's gonna have a very different wheel than a mother of three children that just
Oh.
moved to a bigger house with her husband and her, so and that's the beautiful thing about what I created for myself is that I know it can grow and move with me. And it's
Mhm.
not something that I have to conform with, but it's something that is going to grow with me. And that's also the reason why it's working for me and for Maurice.
So how is it like? I'm deciding which way I want to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to go.
What do you want to know?
So,
What do you want to know?
so how has it changed the way you two approach different areas? Like, I guess. Oh no, I do. I have a different question. I have a different.
Go for it.
So, in an area like relationships,
Yes.
where obviously the two of you are in one together, like this, um, when you're doing that, do you discuss that together? Or is that something where you do yours, he does his, and then you come together, or do you create it together?
No, we discuss and create everything together. So, and
Everything,
especially, and
both wheels.
both wheels,
Oh,
yes,
beautiful.
everything. Yeah. So the original idea was really to strengthen our relationship and to have the same direction in life. Because after 10 years in a relationship,
Mhm.
it's easy to, you go this way, you go that way, and then we live together and we love each other, but we have different goals. And for us, it was really important to keep that closeness and to keep that closeness and to keep on to build a life together and not to build and then meet each other in the middle. We really wanted to build together. So what we do is every area we discuss with each other and we have different goals in the different areas. Like for example, in our relationships, things are important. Some things that might be important for me are less important for Maurits and the other way around, which doesn't mean that and because we speak about it, because he tells me what is important for him in a relationship and what is important for me, we understand each other in that area and we know exactly
Mhm.
what the other one wants. And so if I'm asking 10 times a day for a hug, for example, and he knows that I like to be hugged, I like touch, I want to feel him and to sense him, and I know that that's something for him that is not a for him it's not important, as in the sense that it doesn't show his love to me. So it's
Okay.
not something that he might, that's just a very small example. So it's not something that he might have his attention on. But
It's not
because
his love language.
exactly, it's not his love language, but for
Yeah.
me it is. And because I really wanted also to bring that connection. So because the situation is we both have an own company and we both work at home.
Mhm.
And he is more outside than I am, but we would be like sitting the whole day next to each other, working on our computers without, and at one point I wouldn't want to feel a huggy. And so, but we wouldn't like even, so we spend the whole day together without really being with each other. And I
Mhm.
wanted to change that.
Mhm.
And so I brought in, I want more physical contact in daily life, a hug, a hand, or something like that. And so that's something that now he understands that when I, come at him and jump like a bunny and say, I want a hug, he's not like, oh, and because he understands where it comes from.
Mhm.
And so that creates this connection which makes our relationship more intimate, which is like important for us.
So there has to be some or some open conversation that brings a lot of vulnerability as well.
Always, constantly. Last Sunday we did our month review. So what we do is we create our wheel at the beginning of the year,
Okay.
and then every month we have a month review. So we start the year and then we create goals for the whole year. And then we look at how in the month of January am I going to work at going to
Mm.
achieving that goal. And so for January, it's this. And at the end of January, we evaluate January and we look
Do
at,
that.
okay, what am I going to do for the month of
Okay.
February? Yes. And so last weekend we had such a day that was on Saturday. We had our evaluation day, and well, yes, we had to have some hard conversations because we have different views of the world and different ways of doing things. And sometimes I worry about something, and sometimes Maurits worries about something, and it creates a lot of discomfort sometimes. Yes, there were tears on my side because he was sharing something that I also have been wanting to change for many years, but I find it very difficult. And so he holds a mirror for me. And who better than the person you spend your life with to do that? I know there are many relationships where partners don't do that for each other.
Mhm.
They believe that someone else is supposed to support them in their growth. And for us, it's actually, we choose to spend our lives together. So, who better than us to hold each other accountable, to have the difficult conversation? Carol?
You mean there's not just one? There's not just one time. That's it.
Oh, no. And that's what we do with each other. And because we do the wheel with each other, we know exactly where we stand and who we are as a person. And so I can be very much da, 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 da. And like, a few years ago, it was very difficult for him because that created a reaction for him. And
Mm.
me, the reason why I was da 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 was because I was holding up things. And so I learned that I didn't have to hold up things, that I could speak out things immediately. I learned to do that in my way and telling him also, there's something I want to share and it's difficult. And from the moment that he knows that, so we agreed on things. And from the moment he hears that, he's like, okay, I'm here, tell me.
Mm.
And one thing that is really funny, it's not funny, but it's funny. When he addresses something with me, I feel very uncomfortable. And when I'm uncomfortable, I laugh. So he's, standing in
I
front of me.
can't imagine that.
He's sitting in front of me discussing something that is really important to him and to his, for his heart. And when I feel uncomfortable, I start laughing. And in the beginning of my relationship, I didn't even know that this was my
Pattern.
reaction. Yeah, my pattern. So I needed to understand it for myself. And so that was thanks to my personal work that I learned that, but it was thanks to the wheel of life that I was able to, well, we created a space where we could share this with each other.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And so now when he tells something different, difficult, well, when he addresses something, holds a mirror for me, and I start laughing, he's not, why are you laughing? This is not funny. No, it's not funny, but
Well, I'm sure that helped the relationship completely as well.
yes.
So even areas that are like specific to you, right? Like so
A company, for example.
yeah, I'm like, which one? I'm trying to think. Food, health? No, no, that's both of you. Oh, like, okay. Yeah. So for your company, in that, do you also discuss that with him? Or
Yes.
do you decide for yourself what you want to do? And then like, how does that work?
Well, for my company, yes, I decide where I want to go and what I want to do and what the focus is going to be on in a specific month or at
Mhm.
the end of the year where I want to be with my company. And I do discuss it with him because the reason why I'm also one of the reasons why I'm building my company, and he knows that it's because it's, my company is not just my company that I earn money with. I have a message to share with women. So it's
Mhm.
intrinsically connected to me, to my growth, to my
Mhm.
person. And I really value also his opinion and his ideas. So I really want him to reflect, to give his reflections.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
as like because as you're in a committed relationship and partnership,
Yeah.
and you do yours together,
Mm-hmm.
how is it different for someone who like is there a big difference or is it just maybe easier for someone who's not in that situation? Like how would it differ for someone who's in a committed relationship to someone who is on their own path at this moment?
Well, there's different ways you could what you the support system is really important. Accountability.
Mhm.
So if you know from yourself that you are someone that really, you agree with yourself every month, I'm going to do this month review and I'm going to, so that's the easiest way of incorporating the wheel of expansion in your daily life. You create it, and we do that at the beginning of the year, but you can start with the wheel of life at any moment,
Mhm.
because it's based on all the things that are happening in your life, and they are always happening. So there's not an ideal moment to start with it. If you feel the inspiration to start with it, start with it. I teach the workshop every month. So but I would recommend to find someone to have an evaluation with every month and to discuss it.
Like Ghislaine.
Yeah.
Like Ghislaine.
So yeah, so maybe a little bit of a more background story is, once I started speaking with friends about this wheel of expansion, and and more friends, and especially in the last 2 years, friends that said to me, "You need to do something with this. You need to bring this to the world." I created as a program. I have the wheel of expansion, and then I teach 3 workshops on a monthly base. One is just oriented towards personal growth, which has the areas that I just spoke about. One is more towards radiance, so this is going to be health, and one is more towards the development of your business.
Mm.
which someone said, oh, that's a very nice business plan. And I'm like, yeah, okay, business plan, but I'm not a business mentor. I know the wheel of expansion, but the beautiful thing is you can really use it for anything to create a very personalized business plan, for example. And so in the workshops, you can also meet people that do the wheel of expansion at the same moment as you do. And so people are free to connect with each other if they are open to it, of course. I'm asking everybody to respect everybody's privacy, so they can connect with each other. And I also offer the possibility of connect with me once a month, and we review it together, and we see where you are at, and what is important to focus on. Just having someone else that looks with you at what you are doing.
So you offer the workshops and the one-on-one.
I offer the workshops, yes, and then I offer based on the wheel of expansion, the one-on-one monthly review time. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
exciting. What would you say is the biggest change? Okay, like if you're going way back 7, 8, 6, however many years ago.
Yes.
Way back to before. To where I mean, it's a large growth period, but how has it drastically shifted, like, for things for you? Because obviously it's something you truly are passionate about and believe about. You've been doing it like for such a long time. You've mastered it. You like shifted and changed it over the time you've been doing it. So it's like perfected. So how would you say like it's shifted for you? How has it shifted things for you doing the wheel?
It supported me in having a very clear vision, and therefore really knowing where I am going towards and why I am going towards where I am running towards too.
I understood that. That made sense.
Okay. Just
I got it. I got it.
yeah. So because I year after year connected to those areas of my life, areas of my company, areas of my health, it just really made me realize, and that's also why it shifted from just a basic wheel of life to a wheel of expansion, is because what I started to see for myself is that I wanted to have more connection to my why, and how to bring your why into every area of your life. And that's basically by understanding, so not knowing what your why is, but understanding what your why is based on. So are you doing life, or are you choosing to work on your health because everybody says you are overweight, or everybody says that you need to be more mobile in your hips if you want to grow old? Or are you working on your health because you really want to feel radiant, you really want to be able to jump, to run up the stairs, or to run with your nephews, or to be able to survive if there's an apocalypse? I have no idea where that came from, but
Right.
and
But
so connecting to that intrinsic motivation really made me create something that was so personal, so dear to me, that I wanted to work on my goals instead of just having a goal and then, okay, but how am I going to go there? How am I going to, how? So, yeah. So that's how it drastically changed my life also, because now I'm much more involved in the things that I want to do, and I also know the things that I don't want to do. I'm really not, no, this is not. So I can really easily say no. I can easily say, you know this is not for me or not for now, or because there are so many things that we are
So
part.
it helps. Sorry, go ahead.
Now there are so many things that we are parts of. Yeah.
So would you say it helped you really connect into like what's true for you, and then making sure you're staying within that alignment of what's true for you, and
Exactly.
easier to see, like, no, like, yeah, that sounds fun and cool, but
Yeah.
it's off the beaten path and this is where I want to go.
Exactly. It's like getting rid of all the noise,
Mm-hmm.
be able to really hear and focus on what is on in my life path. And it makes it sound like uh, boring.
I mean, it doesn't sound boring. It doesn't sound boring.
No,
I
okay.
mean, I think so. I mean, that's what we're all here, like most
Well,
of us are trying to figure out, right? Like, where am I going? What am I doing? What's my path? What do I want? What do I
exactly.
not want?
Yeah.
Like, and I think we can get so stuck in just going. And it's easy, even when you're on the path, you
Mm.
can just get in the like caught up in the ball rolling down the hill.
Yeah.
Like, and all of a sudden you look around again and you're like, how'd I get here?
Yeah.
Even though
Exactly.
you've been on.
I had a different plan, or year after year thinking, oh, am I already 35? I thought I would be somewhere else in my life at this age. And
Glad none of those plans worked out because
ah,
they were not
yeah, and you know, I've been coaching and mentoring women for quite some time now, and doing diverse things, and the lack of focus because
mm-hmm.
all the things that we think we want,
Mm-hmm.
so
Or
the
been told we want.
or told we want exactly, and that lack of focus just makes it so that we are like a ship without how do you say this, a ship at sea that doesn't have any
There's no direction, no compass, no.
exactly, there's no you're just drifting away, drifting, you're just drifting, and then yeah, and that's really and that also what also happened for us was that at one point in our life it became clear that we were not going to have children.
Mhm.
And so I don't know if that's maybe recognizable for you, but you know, especially as a woman, you are born a little girl, you go to school, you study, you get a job, and then tada, you're gonna have children, and that's gonna be your life goal. And at one point, it became clear that we were not going to have children, and so what are you gonna do if you're not a mother as a woman? Which is,
Mm.
you know, something that really got my attention. Well, okay, if I'm not going to be a mother, what is it that you are going to be doing? Especially, well, you know, I'm 46, so I was brought up in a time frame where having children was still something natural and normal for every woman.
Mm-hmm.
um, so I never had thought about not, and I did want
Not have.
children. So I never had thought about a life without children. And so that happened, and it was like, okay,
Mm.
what now? And so that really created a desire to know what I was going to be doing, and yeah, and so something similar happened with for Maurits. Um, Not particularly with the becoming a father or not, but also with this deep desire to give direction to his life. Yeah.
So like for someone who is in a, okay, let's use me for example. That's just the easiest way to do it. I'm like, let's stop making up hypotheticals. We'll just use me. I'm a good example. So for someone who is single,
Yes.
and doesn't have children. Um, and but still hopes to, like, I would still like to. When you're doing your wheel, if I was doing a wheel, do
Yeah.
you create the wheel based on the now or in what you want to achieve? If
You
you want, like, so for example, if I'm wanting my own family or I'm wanting a partner, which
mm,
you well, I do, but like
it's
if hypothetically
well, you
speaking,
know, it's 2025. So if you want a family, you don't have to have the partner, but
oh, well,
but
like
you
in my,
want the
okay,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
41.
yeah.
I'm, for all the listeners, I'm not 25.
Yeah.
I'm 41. So like, and then you have that like age aspect, right? Which I also believe is somewhat of a myth. But like, I mean, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
A whole nother topic. But
Yeah.
anyways, um, what would you like, how would you navigate something like that where it's like, oh, this is what I want to create, and but then am I creating from like the current perspective of this reality, or am I creating from like the full version of like what I would like in my life? Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
So what we do is we create a wheel based on what is important for you in your life.
Okay.
So having a family is important for you in your life. So there will be a segment in there that is that is like focused on the creation of a family.
Mhm.
Based on what is important for you in your life, we are going to look at where you are at. And then we are going to look at what your desires are. I specifically talk about goals and not about desires because for me, the goals are it's very linear energy, very masculine energy as well. And
Mhm.
it creates a contraction in the sense that a goal fits here. When you talk about desires, there's much more openness. It's much more rounded energy, feminine energy, and there's more possibilities of going towards, of achieving that desire. So we go
Okay.
into your desires, and based on that, we also look at what is already thriving and what
Mhm.
is ready to be activated and to be welcomed into your life. So obviously, when I do this with women and with men, there's a different language, but it's the
Mhm.
same idea. I also want to open men at looking at their desires and not only looking at what their goal is. But that's the idea. And something else that I do that also was a game changer for me when I started doing that a few years ago is looking at what your values are within
Yes.
each segment, what your standards are, and what your intentionalities are. So the values is a big concept. Yes, it's an ideology. The standards make it more earthy and palpable. And the
Mhm.
intentionality, they speak about how you bring your values into your daily life. So, based on the example that you gave about wanting to build a family, we are going to look at what your values are and how is it that those values
Okay.
are being taskbar. How can you hold those values within your life?
Mhm.
Based on that, what is it you need to change today to get to your goal,
Mm.
your
So who,
desire?
like, who am I when I have the goal?
Exactly. If you want a if you want a family and a relationship, but you are hiding from all men because I don't know.
I'm not I'm not hiding.
No, 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 no. I'm not saying
I
you.
know, I
I'm
know.
just yeah. I'm just
You
saying
hit a nerve there,
yeah.
Ghislaine. I'm not hiding. I'm just teasing.
Okay, people. Kristen is not hiding. You have our email address. We're going to do a speed dating on Zoom.
Okay, we're not doing. Okay, now maybe I might back out of that one. I don't do any of that speed dating stuff. Anyways,
No,
back
no,
to
no,
the
no.
wheel. To the wheel.
Oh, sorry. Focus, focus, focus. We're not talking about your love life. Wait a second.
No, we're not.
But that's how we focus. We look at what is present here because we can't ignore what is present. We can't
Mhm.
only look at what you want without. That's why the wheel of expansion works so well, is because it's a combination of where do I want to go, where I am at, and what can I do, who can I be in order to really get to where I want to go. Because it's not only about what you want, it's also who are you. Yes, I can want to have a multi-million dollar business, but if I'm sitting lazy in my couch the whole day and not creating any programs, or not looking at my website, not sharing my knowledge, well, then I'm never going to get to the $1 million.
You mean it just won't drop out of the sky?
No, it won't. Yeah, I'm gonna sit in meditation and I'm gonna manifest the millions.
Why? Um, so there's a balance still in the masculine and feminine energies in the wheel.
Yeah, exactly. So for the within the wheel, I address the mind, the heart, the intrinsic and the extrinsic motivation, and I bring the feminine and the masculine. So each person is gonna, and this is why it's so fabulous, because, and like I said, your wheel is going to be very different than my wheel.
Mhm.
And so it's going to be very personal to where, what you want to where you want to expand in your life. And so, because I address the mind and the heart and the intrinsic and the extrinsic motivation, it works for men and for women. And so when I do work with men, I do use little bit of a different language, but I like to challenge them, especially when they are very like, oh, I'm a man. I'm like, and what are your desires? And they go, it's amazing.
So there's also an aspect to which, I mean, we're very familiar with, and I'm sure our listeners are also familiar with, but there's an aspect of really having to look at yourself
Yes.
and be honest about like your patterns, your habits, your belief systems, what, like how you're living your life in comparison to what it takes to live the life you're creating.
Yeah. Because I believe that in traditional goal setting, I believe that this is the gap that many people fall into. They have
Mhm.
their goals, they set it, they put it there at the beginning of the year, they had their good intentions, and
Their New Year resolutions,
yes, that's
air quotes, that
their
last till
resolution.
January 16th.
I'm going to change my life. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then and then they just keep on doing the things that they were doing all the time, and just thinking that they need to work harder and thinking that they need to do more
Mhm.
to be more, when in fact what is really needed is to change the way you do things, and to change the way you look at things, to change yourself, because there's a reason why you are not there yet. If it's
Yeah.
if it was so easy, everybody that makes a resolution would at the end of the year have reached their resolution. And I think maybe the best example I can give is losing weight and working on your health. I mean, you can't change your health if you are not happy with your health. You cannot change your health and keep on doing the same things that
Yeah.
brought
Yeah.
you to that feeling of not feeling healthy. It's not possible. And it's not about going on a diet, it's about changing the way you think about your health and about things, and about it's much more than just, changing one thing.
Mhm. Beautiful. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
So, as we wrap up, let's see.
Yeah,
Well, first, so you said you have monthly workshops.
I have monthly workshops on the wheel of expansion for the elevation of your life in general, for your radiance, and for your business. And I am in the process of creating a coach trainings program, which is going to be launched in June 2025.
Amazing.
But
Congratulations.
the workshops are every month on the planning. You can find this on my website or just send me a message and
Which will be attached to the description.
yes, exactly. And I'm also I did a lot of online work, and so I'm very much open to doing events, live events, and I will travel the whole world to do a live event. So yeah. So yeah, and more information also on my website.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So we invite you to check Ghislaine's
that will be
website to learn
amazing.
more about the Wheel of Expansion and all her other amazing things she does, because there's a lot more. And we invite you to consider how you're elevating different areas of your life.
Yes, I love that. This is exactly where what I was thinking also. The invitation. How do you elevate your life? How do you change? How do you implement change? Yeah,
And where are you? How do you get from here to there?
exactly. I love
So,
it.
love you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Kristen. Love you too. Bye.
Bye.